Okay, and we are going to start on our backs and just have your yoga block kind of handy and nearby so that you just have access to it. Okay, so come down onto your back. We're going to come down onto our backs with our, like a constructive rest, kind of, sort of, but we're going to put the feet as close together as you can allow them to be. And then the knees and the inner thighs as close together as you can allow them to be. And then once you've got your way here, we're just going to try to allow a little softening through the back, the hips and the shoulders, but the legs are going to stay in that closer, tighter position. And then just let your hands rest wherever feels the most comfortable. And then once you've kind of got yourself into a semi-comfortable situation, so this might not feel like the most restful and easeful position, especially with those inner thighs together. It might actually create a little bit of effort to keep your legs in that closer position, but just see if you can just get your body arranged just so everything feels like it's feeling pleasant enough. And then once you're there, hands are just going to start to come down alongside the hips, and we're going to do a little bit of reach through the fingertips, like you're trying to reach your fingertips towards your heels and maybe feel the shoulder heads pull down just a little bit, and then relax back into a neutral position. And then reach your fingertips like you're trying to reach them towards your heels, and then relax them into a neutral position. And then do that one more time. Reach your fingertips toward your heels, and then relax hands into a neutral position, soften your shoulders, rearrange your shoulder blades so everything feels good. And then we're going to take super micro turns of the head. So think a 2 centimeter level of turn. So you're just gently turning your head just so that you're looking towards the corner of your ceiling and then to the other corner of your ceiling. So not full range of motion, but just a light bit of movement. Nice. One more little micro turn of the head. And then as your head comes back to center, rearrange your shoulders, make sure everything feels good. But now we're going to slide the arms up and out like you're coming into a T position, but palms facing up to start. So once you've got your arms straight out from your shoulders, we're going to roll the fingers in, make a little fist and squeeze, and then roll the fingers out and stretch your fingers out away from each other just as wide as you can. Roll your fingers in, make a little fist and squeeze. Roll your fingers out and stretch the fingers wide. Roll the fingers in, make a little fist and squeeze. Roll the fingers out, stretch the fingers wide. And now we're going to flip the palms so that the palms are facing down so that your hands can just offer a little bit of an anchor or support. And now we're going to start to swish the knees a little bit side to side. So the inner thighs are still together. Legs are as close as they can be, which means you're probably not going to get big, giant range of motion, but start by just letting the knees drop a little bit side to side. And then see if you can start to take those knees a little bit further, dropping them towards the ground, which means your inner thighs might kind of glide against each other and your knees might move apart just a little bit. And you might feel your hips kind of lift on one side as you drop the knees a little closer to the earth. Nice. And now see if you can get a little bit closer to the ground. Slow it down just a little bit. See how close can you get your knees towards the earth. Give a little time. And then keeping your arms in that T position, can you let your knees drop over to the right and sink all the way down, just as far as they naturally go? Even if your knees don't touch the ground, don't worry about that. But if it feels uncomfortable and unsupported, take your yoga block and just tuck it under your thighs. So your knees drop as far over to the right as feels good. But if they can touch all the way to the ground, let them go just as far as they go. And then once you're there, just make sure your shoulders feel like they're happily arranged. Turn your head to the left. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Head is going to return to center. Knees are going to lift back up to center for a moment. Come back to those small mini windshield wipers. Inner thighs are still together. And then when you're ready, we're going to drop it over to the left. Drop it as far as your legs will allow. Take your time. Let the knees drop down. If you like, take your block support under the thighs if that feels like a better way to go, and go just as far as feels good. And then once you found your knees dropped over to the left, but both shoulders are still anchored on the ground, turn your head to the right if that feels good. And then come back to your breath. Take a nice, generous inhale. Nice, slow exhale. Awesome. And then when you're ready, head returns to center, knees return to center. And now we're going to toe heel the feet so that the knees stay together, but now the feet are a little bit wider. So you're in that more traditional constructive rest position. And then once you found your way there, just give everything a moment to soften. Soften the front pocket area, soften your belly, soften your chest. Once you've got everything really nice and soft, we're going to focus on the breath, and we're going to retain the breath on the exhale, and we're going to retain the breath on the inhale. So take an inhalation, fill your lungs up, and then hold the breath at the top. And then as slow as you can, exhale nice and slow, releasing that air. And then once you've released all of that breath, hold that empty breath or retain the exhale. And then without having to gasp for air, when you're ready, just take an inhale, fill your lungs up. Retain that inhalation, so hold the breath at the top. And then when you're ready, nice and slow, exhale. Once you've let all that air go, hold or retain that exhale for a moment. And then without having to gasp for breath, inhale, fill your lungs up. Hold the breath at the top. Exhale nice and slow. And retain the exhale when you released all that air. Nice. And now we're going to take 3 more cycles of breath. You're going to move with your breath's rhythm, but see if you can find that retention of breath. So inhale a full breath, retain the breath at the top. When you feel ready, you exhale. And then at the bottom of the exhale, just hold that exhale for a moment and then come back to your breath. Once you've completed that last cycle of breath, just give your toes a little wiggle, your fingers a little wiggle, allow a moment to just let your breath kind of return to its natural rhythm. And then once you feel like you found that natural rhythm again, we're going to do gentle nods of the head. So tiny little nods of the head up and down, like 1 centimeter of movement. So your head is connected to the floor. So you might feel your hair get a little tug. You might feel the skin and connective tissue feel trapped on the floor. So a slight bit of movement might even come up into your forehead. Take 1 more little nod of the head up and down, and then let your head come back to stillness. Bring your arms up into those I Dream of Jeannie arms, or that square across the chest, and just start to pull the elbows gently side to side. Nice. 1 more pull of the elbows side to side. And then when you're ready, release your arms into cactus arms or goalpost position. And now we're going to go big, giant movement. So we're going to windshield wiper the knees and turn the head. So as your knees drop in one direction, head is going to turn in the opposite direction. Take as big of a movement here as you can find. Beautiful. 1 more big giant windshield wiper each side. And then as you come back to center, we're going to grab our yoga block, toe heel the feet in so they're about hip width distance apart. And we're going to take that yoga block at the skinniest setting and place it between the knees and the inner thighs. And then once you've got that yoga block between the knees and the inner thighs, just take a second to assess, make sure your feet feel like they're nice and evenly set on the ground and your toes are nicely spread. There's no scrunching up of the toes. And then once you feel like you've got all that going on, we're just going to push gently into the yoga block, holding a little bit of tension there, maybe feeling the inner thighs kick on, maybe even feeling a little action around the outer edges of your hips or right up where that front pocket entry area would be. See if you can notice any places where you feel like there's a sort of lighting up of the muscles, and then relax that tension just a little bit, but keep the block between your thighs. And then we'll do that again. Push your inner thighs into the block and hold that tension. Notice your inner thighs. Notice the front pocket area. Notice if you picked up tension in your toes, can you still keep your toes in a sort of loose position? And then when you're ready, soften and release just a moment. And then do that one more time. Push into the yoga block. Hold that tension. Check your toes. Are your toes relaxed? Take one more moment. And then release that little bit of tension, but we're going to keep the yoga block between the inner thighs. Pull your abdominal muscles down towards the ground and then lift your legs up into a tabletop position. And then if you need to readjust your block, just take a second to do it. Once you've got that yoga block between the knees and your legs are in that reverse tabletop position, we're going to alternate kicking the leg out to the side. So we're going to keep our knees hugging into the yoga block, and then we're going to swing the foot out like you're trying to look at your heel or look at the bottom of the foot, and then switch over to the other side. Once you've found that good movement, as you swing the foot out to the side, you're going to hold it for a second, feel that little bit of tension right up along that front pocket area or that front pocket entry area, and then bring it back in with control. Take one more time each side, or even yourself out. And then as both legs come back into center, we're going to take some toe taps. So we're going to move the thighs away from the torso, let your toes touch down to the ground, and then with control, bring the thighs back up. Move your thighs away from your torso, and then check your abdominal muscles here. Some of us will feel better to have the low back pressing down into the ground. That'll feel really strong. Some of us, it'll feel a little bit better to have a slightly more natural curve of the back. So make sure that your core center place feels nice and strong, and it's not struggling and you're not straining in your back. So readjust your back so you feel like you're in the strongest position you could be in. Beautiful. Take one more tap down. And then as your knees lift back up to that more level position, just grab your yoga block and then set your feet down. We're going to keep the feet about hip width distance apart. Press into your feet, lift your butt up, and then lowest setting of your block, you're going to slide that block right underneath your butt so that it's underneath your broad hip bones. And then once you've got that block set up underneath your hips, relax your hips, soften your belly, let your arms fall out at your sides, and take 3 nice deep breaths. Nice. When you're ready, slowly and gently press into your feet, lift your hips up away from your block, slide your block out from underneath you. We're going to pull both knees into the chest. So draw them in, give a light little hug and squeeze, and then take your knees, draw them in circles, go in one direction. And then take your knees and draw them in circles, go the other way. Wonderful. From here, we're going to grab the backs of the thighs and we're going to start to find a little rock and roll. We're going to take a little time to work the length of the spine, just massaging from the tailbone up towards the tops of the shoulders. And then once you feel like you've massaged the back just enough, find a little momentum, come up and see if you can find a little balance here. And then hold that balanced boat, pushing the thighs into the hands, lifting up through the crown of your head. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. And then from here, we're going to move it right into an easy seat or Sukhasana. So if you can, crisscross your legs, come up to an upright seated position, give a second just to kind of work into those sits bones so you feel really comfortable in your seat. And then right hand's going to touch down, left hand's going to reach up, lean over to the right, take a nice big side bend. Awesome. When you're ready, lift up and take it over to the other side. Beautiful. As we lift up, we're going to lift both arms up and overhead like we're holding a beach ball above our head. Take a nice big breath, and then we're going to flip the palms so the palms are pressing like we're pressing our high five palms up towards the ceiling. But now let the shoulders lift, let the ribs lift. Imagine that the whole upper torso is just kind of pressing upward towards the ceiling. So rather than trying to keep it tight and controlled, let it all lift upward, and maybe even lift your eyes, just your gaze up towards the ceiling. Take a nice big breath in. And then as you exhale, soften your shoulders, let your hands float down, and then we're going to take it right into rotation. So left hand's going to find the right knee, rotate just as far as feels good. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, release and take your twist over to the other side. Beautiful. When you're ready, slowly unwind to center and then move it right into a seated cat-cow. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, round your back. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. One more cycle of breath. And then as you find a neutral spine, we're going to take the right hand, reach over and across the shoulder. So fingers are going to fall behind the shoulder, elbow's going to drop down. And then once you've got that elbow down, tuck your chin into your chest, take a nice full breath in. Slow breath out. Lift your chin, release your arms, switch over to the other side. Left hand's going to reach over and across, over the top of the shoulder, elbow drops down. And then once you've got that, tuck your chin down. Nice. And then lift your head up, release your arms into cactus or goalpost position. And then we're going to imagine that somebody's giving us a little bit of a high five. So as you get into that cactus or goalpost position, elbows are in line with the shoulders, palms are going to draw back. But then once you've got those palms drawing back, check in with the ribs and see if you can just kind of tuck the ribs in towards each other so we keep the center nice and strong, and then find that sensation again in that high five situation. Take one more breath, and then we're going to release the hands behind the back, nice tall fingers, and we're going to lift the chest. So release your hands behind you, tall tented fingers, lift your chest, squeeze between the shoulder blades, lift your chin, take a breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we're going to release into an easy seated forward fold. So lift the fingertips up, hinge from your waist, fold all the way forward or just as far as feels good to you. And then once you're there, take a second to just kind of tune in and assess, how does your low back feel? How do your hips feel? How do your knees feel? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly walk yourself back up and in. Now, if you can, you'll flippity-doo yourself into a table right from here, just lifting your butt up, or come up into your tabletop in all fours in any way that makes sense to you. Once you've found your way onto all fours or in your tabletop position, just make sure everything feels comfortable. We're going to slide the right leg back, toes curled under, and take a couple of rocks forward and back. Nice. Now, the next time your heel presses back, we're going to hang out there for a second, but keep it as effortless as you possibly can just for a moment. So it's not a big push, but there is that angling back situation. Now we're going to strengthen up the arms. So create a little tension in the shoulders, a little tension in the arms. Keep the arms and the shoulders nice and braced and strong. And now try to push your heel forward, but let your arms resist. So we're working through the heel, the foot, the back of the leg. You may even feel it in your top of your thigh, but the arms are going to resist. See if you can hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that effort, press back into your heel, take one good breath. And then come back up, shoulders in line with the wrists, slide that leg in, and we're going to switch right over to the other side. So left leg's going to slide back, take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back. Awesome. Now, the next time you press back into that heel, hang out there in that situation, but reduce as much efforting as you can. Just make sure it feels like a good, comfortable place to be. And then solidify your arms. So brace your arms, brace your shoulders. Once you've got that braced upper body, imagine you're pushing your heel forward. So push into the toes and the balls of the feet. You're trying to shove that heel forward, but your arms are going to create that resistance. Notice the work happening in the leg, top of the thigh. Take one more moment. Lovely. And then when you're ready, relax, release. And then when you feel like it, slide that leg in, and we're going to take it into big giant hip bops. So we're going to drop the hips side to side like you're trying to drop your hips all the way down to the ground. Beautiful. One more bop of the hips side to side, and then bring the hips back to center and move right into C-spine, like you're hugging hip to shoulder, hip to shoulder. Nice. One more C-spine each way, and then we're going to move right into puppy pose. So as you come through center, walk your hands forward to the front edge of your mat. Let your chest and your forehead melt down. Take 3 nice big breaths here. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up to tabletop position. Curl both sets of toes under. On an exhale, bring it up to downward facing dog and start to pedal out the legs. Bend one knee and press into the opposite heel. Awesome. One more pedal of each leg, and then we're going to pick up the heels and pivot the heels over to the right. So you're going to pick your heels up, turn your toes like you're trying to turn them towards the right corner of your mat. Square up your shoulders, push down into your heels. Notice that fun little stretch through the side of the body. Take a nice big breath. And then when you're ready, lift your heels up. We're going to pivot the heels over to the left. So both heels are going to pivot. Square up your shoulders, press into the heels, take a breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, pick up your heels, pivot back to center, bend your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a soft ragdoll fold at the top of the mat. Feet about hip or shoulder distance apart, make enough space for yourself here, and then let everything dangle nice and heavy. Spine is nice and heavy, head is nice and heavy, arms that are nice and heavy. Just making sure that you have a good solid position, like you don't feel like you're tipping forward or anything. So if you need to, tent your fingers. But now we're going to scrunch up the feet. So make sure your feet feel like they're nice and evenly weighted on the ground, and then scrunch your feet up like you're trying to pick something up with the bottoms of the feet, which may want you to bend your knees just a little bit more. And then when you're ready, relax your feet into a softer position. And then do it again. Scrunch up your feet like you're trying to pick up your yoga mat with the bottoms of your feet, and then relax. And do that one more time. Scrunch up your feet and then relax. And then with that softer, more relaxed position of the feet, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in slow as you can, roll your way up to standing, take your time as you come up. And then as you come up to standing, just give yourself a second, get yourself situated, let your blood pressure return to normal, fix up your clothes, and then find your mountain pose at the top of the mat. We're going to root down nice and firm into our feet. So lift your toes, spread your toes as wide as you can. And then if it helps, maybe you look at your feet. So what we want just for today, sometimes you position your feet slightly different, that we want, imagine that the big toes are together, but with a little bit of space, so that the pinky toes are facing towards the front end of your mat. And then you're going to imagine that you're hugging your heels in towards each other. So big toes together, but with about an inch or two between them, pinky toes pointing to the front end of your mat. And then imagine that you hug your heels in towards each other, and see if you can just kind of feel your butt muscles kick on as you wrap the heels in towards each other. Can you feel the back muscles of the body light up just a little bit, and then grow just a little bit taller through the front of the body and soften your shoulders down away from your ears? Nice. And then just take a moment here just to feel that strong stance. Feel your feet nice and solid on the floor. Imagine that there's energy lifting up through the soles of the feet all the way up through the center line of your body. Take one more moment here just to notice that strength. Nice. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. And it is 9:30. If you have to go to your monthly ladies meeting, take your Savasana real quick. Find your mountain pose. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. One more time, just like that. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. We're going to step the right leg back to warrior two. So step that foot back, turn the toes out, heel drops down. Right hand is going to pick you up. Beautiful. And then once you've found your warrior two position, we're going to bring a little bit of movement in here. So we're going to straighten the front leg and reach the arms up. And then bend that front knee and gaze comes forward to that left hand. Straighten the front knee, arms up and look up. Bend the front knee, arms come back down, look to the left hand. Nice. One more time, just like that. Straighten the front leg, arms up, look up. Bend that front knee, look to the left hand. Beautiful. Now straighten that front leg. Both toes are going to turn out to the side and we're going to hinge from the waist, fold down towards the ground. Once your hands find the ground, we're going to take it into some light little side lunges. So just bend one knee and then the other. And then check in here and notice, how do your inner thighs feel? Notice how your knees feel. One more little sway side to side, and then we're going to stay low and walk it around to a lunge to the front of the mat. So pivot your feet, walk your hands around, bend that front knee, rotate your torso. And once you found that runner's lunge, heart forward, look forward, take a breath. Beautiful. Plant your palms, step back to plank. Pause in your plank just for a moment. Find your strength here. And then when you're ready, bring your knees down, rotate the eyes of the elbows, lower with control onto your belly, one low cobra. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Press your way up to tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale up to down dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing, roll the shoulders up to the ears, around, down, and back, and then find that nice lifting upward sensation. Spread the toes, heels hug in towards each other, reach up through the crown of your head. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out, left hand picks you up. And then we move with the breath. Inhale, straighten that front leg, arms reach up. Exhale, bend and bring it back down. Look towards that right hand. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, bring it back down, look forward. Straighten the front leg, arms up, look up. Bend that front knee, arms down, look forward. Beautiful. And then straighten that front leg. Both toes are going to turn out to the left side of the mat. Bend your knees just a little bit. Hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. Come back to those little side lunges. And then if you had your block on one particular side, we're just going to set the block up so it will have easy access to it to the right side. So if it's on your left side, just pass it over to the other side of your mat. And then when you're ready, staying nice and low, we're going to walk it around to that lunging position at the front of the mat. Beautiful. When you're ready, plant the palms, step back to plank. Bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of your elbows, lower with control. Inhale up to a low cobra. Exhale to lower down. Press your way up to tabletop position, curl the toes under. Exhale up to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing nice and slow. Roll your shoulders up to your ears, around, down, and back. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step the right leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out. Right hand is going to pick you up. Awesome. One time with the breath. So we're going to straighten that front leg, reach the arms up and look up. Exhale, bend the front knee, bring the arms back down, gaze forward. Straighten the front leg, both toes turn out to the right, bend your knees just a little bit, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. And now we're going to grab our block and we're going to take, like we do and mix it up sometimes, we're going to take low side lunges where we pick up the leg, but take your block with you. So we're going to take it side to side, just finding a little bit of balance. Use your block as a stabilizer, but for some of us, I like the block because my arms are slightly short. But if you have really long arms, you might find the block is actually a hindrance and not a helper. So you just play around with what makes you feel the most stable. And then the next time you come towards the front end of your mat, finding that half moon position, going just a little bit further with it. So stabilize on the block. Now we want to make sure that the right hip is rotated up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to put a little energy down into our standing leg. Push out into your right foot. And then if it feels good, reach your right hand up and imagine the hands are reaching away from each other. Take one more breath. Then we're going to release that right foot to the front of the mat. So we're going to come into a slightly forward fold position. So rotate that foot down, find your tall setting of the block, and then a half forward fold using the block. So you make that little L shape with the body. Nice. And then when you're ready, soften down, release your hands from your block, bend your knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing nice and slow and controlled. Roll your shoulders down and back. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out. Left hand is going to pick you up. One time with the breath, straighten that front leg, reach the arms up, look up. Bend that front knee, arms come down, gaze forward. Straighten that front leg, both toes are going to pivot out to the right side of the mat, and then micro bend the knees, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. Start with those little lunges. And then grab your block and start to take it with you and find that nice little transition, bringing one foot across or bringing the block across and lifting one leg up and then the other. Nice. Now, the next time you've got that block in the right hand and you're towards that front end of your mat, finding your half moon here, lifting up, rotating the left hip so it's up towards the ceiling. Left hand reaches up and then find that energy, pushing down into your standing leg, out through your left foot, up through your top hand and down through the bottom hand and reaching out through the crown of your head. Beautiful. When you're ready, release into your forward fold. Let that foot drop down gently. Turn yourself around to the front end of your mat. Readjust your yoga block so we find that half forward fold or that L shape with the body. Nice. And then when you're ready, release, hands away from the block, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll your way up to standing, take your time. Roll your shoulders around, down, and back. And then right at the top of your mat, pick one knee up, whichever is your favorite to start. See if you can keep that knee lifted. We're going to swing the foot out and then see if you can catch hold of the blade edge of the foot. And then we're going to let the knee drop down. So we're going to rotate so the heel comes towards the back side of the body. Knee drops down so we get into that half dancer position. Take one breath. And then with control, release your handhold from that foot, set your foot down. We're going to transfer our weight right over to the other side. Pick your left knee up or your other knee. Swing the foot out, grab the blade edge of the foot. As you grab the blade edge of the foot, heel towards the butt, knee drops down. Nice. And then with control, release that foot and find your mountain pose. Beautiful. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step the right leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, toes turn out, right hand picks you up. One time with the breath, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, look up. Exhale, bring it back down into peaceful warrior. Drop the back hand, reach the front hand up, take a little opening and stretch through the side body. We're going to circle the hands down, find your block, and lift right up into that half moon position. So readjust your block as needed. Pick that right leg up, rotate the hip towards the ceiling, push out into the feet, reach your right arm up. Gaze can be forward, gaze can be up, or gaze can be down. That's just whatever feels more stable to you. Awesome. Take one more breath. We're going to release it into our runner's lunge. So bend your standing leg to start, float that right foot to the back end of your mat, and then float your hands down. Beautiful. Once you found your way there, plant your palms, step back to plank, lower your knees, lower gently down onto your belly. Inhale up to cobra just as high as you like. Exhale to lower down. Press your way up to a tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale up to down dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out, left hand picks you up. One time with the breath, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, look up. Bend and bring it back down. Peaceful warrior, drop the back hand, reach the front hand up. Beautiful, and then float it forward, and we're going to find our way into that half moon. Grab your yoga block, support yourself, readjust anything that you need to. Lift that left leg up, rotate the hip up towards the ceiling, stretch that arm up, and then push that energy out through the edges of your body, out through the crown of your head, out through your feet, out through your fingers. Nice, and then when you're ready, start by bending your standing leg, float that left foot back. We're going to rotate around into our runner's lunge. Beautiful. Once you found your way there, plant your palms, step back to plank. Lower your knees, lower gently down onto your belly. One cobra here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Push your way up to tabletop position, curl the toes under. Exhale up to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold. Grab your yoga block. We're going to place the yoga block between the inner thighs and the knees. So get your yoga block in place. And then once you've got your yoga block in place, bend your knees like you're going to set up for a chair position. Keep a little bit of a tight squeeze on that block of the inner thighs, and then reach your arms up and see if you can get your arms up alongside your ears. Keep that nice little connection of the inner thighs and the block. Keep the arms up alongside the ears, and we're going to take 3 lifts of the heels. So inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale and float your heels down. Inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale, lower them down. Inhale and lift up. Exhale to lower down. Keep that block between the inner thighs. Push down into your feet. Rise up nice and slow and controlled. As you exhale, cactus your arms, open your chest, look to the sky. Keep that block between the thighs. Hands are going to float behind the back. Interlace the fingers here. Draw the knuckles down. A little squeeze between the shoulder blades. A little lift of the arms away from the back of the body. Keeping the block between the inner thighs. Lift your chin up. And then kiss the ceiling about 10 times. Nice. And then as you release, we're going to curl the lips around the teeth, close the mouth, and then take little tick-tocks of the head side to side, keeping the arms away from the back of the body, keeping the inner thighs connected to the block, keeping the lips wrapped around the teeth. One more little tick-tock of the head side to side. And then as your head comes to center, release your lips around the teeth, release your fingers, give a little shrug, shrug out your shoulders, wiggle out your head, keep that block between your thighs if you can, finding your mountain pose here. So toes and knees pointing fairly forward, hugging the heels in towards each other. As you hug the heels in towards each other here with the block between the inner thighs, it might almost feel like you're trying to push the yoga block forward. So find that little bit of squeeze, see if you can feel that sensation. Pause here, just notice your strength. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, grab the yoga block from the inner thighs, place it off to one side just so that you'll have access to it when we come down to the ground. Step both feet back to down dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, come into tabletop position. We're going to move to that position where the leg is out to the side, like we're coming to our gate pose, but we're just going to stay low. So keep the right leg out to the side and take like 3 rocks forward and back. Nice. And then when you're ready, slide that leg in and switch to the other side. And then take 3 rocks forward and back. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, slide that leg in and then either crisscross your legs or swing your feet out to one side, but we're going to sit around onto our butt. And then once you've got your way down, come down, elbows and forearms. Left knee is going to stay bent. Right leg is going to go long. And we're going to flex that foot and keep a good intentional flex in that foot. Lift the leg up to knee height. Keep that flex in the foot, lower down, but let the heel hover. Lift the leg up to knee height. Lower it down and let the heel hover. Lift the leg up to knee height, hold it there. And now we're going to externally rotate the thigh bone. So we're going to think about turning the top of your thigh to the right side of your mat. So rotate it out and then rotate it back to that neutral position or facing up towards the ceiling. Rotate it out. Bring it back in. Rotate it out. Bring it back in. And now we're going to rotate it out. Bend the knee like you're trying to bring your heel toward your knee. Push your heel out with control. Rotate thigh towards the ceiling. Rotate the thigh out to the right. Bend the knee, heel towards that left knee. Push the heel out and rotate up. One more time. Rotate out to the side. Bend the knee. Push the heel back out. Rotate back up. And then lower the leg with control. Once the heel touches down to the ground, slide that foot in. And then we switch to the other side. Pick up the left leg, flex the foot, lengthen it nice and long. Keep that foot nice and flexed. Lift up to knee height. Lower back down with control, heel hovers. Lifting up to knee height and lowering with control. Lift up to knee height. Lower with control. This time we're going to lift the leg up to knee height and hold there. And now externally rotate. So thigh turns out to the left. Bring it back in. Thigh turns out to the left. Bring it back in. Thigh turns to the left. Bring it back in. Now thigh turns out to the left. Bend the knee, heel towards the knee. Push the heel away and then re-rotate the thigh. Externally rotate, bend the knee. Push the heel away and rotate the thigh. One more time. Externally rotate, bend the knee. Push the heel away. Rotate the thigh towards the ceiling. Lower that leg with control. Slide that foot in, and then with those legs in a slightly narrow position, just a couple little swishes of the knee side to side. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down onto the ground and then just have your yoga block nearby. Take a second as you come down. We're going to take the right leg across the left like we're crossing our legs in a chair. So get that little crisscross going on. Just notice how that feels. Take a breath. Awesome. And then we're going to switch right over to the other side. So uncross the right leg, cross the left leg like you're just crossing your legs in a chair. Take a breath. Beautiful. And then uncross those legs, cross the right leg over the left. And now we're going to pick the legs up, keep the legs crossed, swing the feet out so the feet are further away from each other, and then re-grab either the shins or the tops of the feet, just whatever handhold works good for you. Start by just taking 3 little gentle pulls in towards the heart. Doesn't even need to be full range of motion, just allowing a slight bit of gentle movement. And then on your next exhale, as you pull the knees in, turn your head to the right. Inhale, release, and turn your head back. On your next exhale, turn your head to the left, pull the knees in. Inhale and release, back to the right, pull the knees in, turn your head to the right. Inhale to release. Exhale, turn your head to the left, pull the knees in. Inhale to release. One more time through. Exhale, turn your head to the right, pull the knees in. Inhale to release. Exhale, turn your head to the left, pull the knees in. Inhale to release. Now we're going to keep the head in a neutral position. Keep your legs crossed, float them down, and then see how does it feel to keep the legs crossed and drop the knees over to the right. So arms are just going to come out as wide as they can to be an anchor. Just drop your knees to a point that feels safe and comfortable. If you hit any points where your knees or your hips are coming into question, only go as far as feels good. You might notice a little tug in the front pocket area, maybe the side edge of the hip. Take one more moment to notice. On an exhale, bring the legs through center. We're going to drop them over to the left, but just again, same thing here, just as far as feels good, like you're finding good sensation. Wonderful. And then when you're ready, bring it back to center. Step your right foot off the left. Step the left leg across the right, finding that crisscross position. And then once you've got your legs crossed, lift your legs up, feet away from each other, grabbing the shins or the tops of the feet, whatever handhold works good. Draw the knees in, take about 3 little ins and outs. Beautiful. And then on your next exhale, as you pull the knees in, turn your head to the left. Inhale to release. Exhale, pull the knees in, turn your head to the right. Inhale to release. Exhale, head to the left, knees pull in. Inhale to release. Exhale, head turns to the right. Inhale, release. Take one more time through. Beautiful. And then as you come back to center, release your handhold, let your feet float down, but see if you can keep your legs crossed. Can you drop your legs over to the left just as far as feels good, keeping both arms, both shoulders nice and anchored? Awesome. And then with control, take it through center over to the other side, just as far as feels good. Nice. And then when you're ready, bring it back to center, unwind your legs or uncross your legs, step your feet so about hip width distance apart. And then we're going to grab our yoga block, lift your butt up, slide that yoga block in the lowest setting underneath your butt and underneath your hip bones. Once you've got that yoga block in place, right leg is going to extend nice and long. So we're going to send that leg nice and long. Once you've got that leg nice and long, flex the foot, bring your hands to your front pocket area just for a moment, and then just a little lift of that foot, just so you can kind of feel that muscle action and where we're trying to shoot to find a little stress. So once you feel like you understand where those muscles are, just let your heel touch down again, but keep the right foot flexed. Right hand is going to reach up alongside your ear. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. 2 more cycles of breath. Awesome. Now we're going to release the hand back to the front pocket, lift the right leg up. We're going to let the foot hover, and then we're going to draw 3 circles. So maybe about 5 inches of movement there. So circle in one direction. Try to keep your hips as stable as you can on the block. And then when you're ready, take those circles and go the other way. So your butt is doing a little bit of work, your hip flexor muscles are doing a bit of work, your thigh muscles are doing a bit of work, and you may even feel your abdominal muscles kick on. Take one more circle around, and then when you're ready, soften that foot, slide it in, and we're going to switch over to the other side. Left leg is going to go nice and long, flex the foot. Maybe with the hands on the front pocket area, just lift that leg up just so you can kind of feel, tune in, notice that front pocket area, notice that group of muscles. And then once you feel like you know where we're working, left foot's going to touch down, left hand is going to reach up alongside the ear. Once you've got that longer position, take 3 nice big breaths. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, left hand's going to float back down, find that front pocket area, left foot's going to lift up and hover, and then we're going to draw some circles, circling in one direction, maybe about 5 inches of work. Keeping the hips as stable as you can. And then when you're ready, take those circles and draw them the other way. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, slowly and gently release. Slide that foot in. Take a second to just find that supported bridge and then invite a little bit of softness in. So readjust your tailbone, readjust your butt and your back so that everything feels like it can kind of soften and relax. And then once you've got that, let your hands fall out at your sides and just come back to your breath. Breathe into your rib cage. Think front to back, side to side. Allow a softness in the abdomen and a softness through that front pocket area. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, push firmly into your feet, lift your butt up away from the block, move that block out from underneath you, and then slow as you can, roll your way down to the ground. Take your time as you come down. Once you've come all the way down and your back feels good on the ground, we're going to lift the legs right up and start with a sort of legs up the wall situation, but then we're going to take the legs out as wide as we can. So we want to feel a little stress or stretch in that inner thigh muscle group area. So if it helps you find it, place hands on inner thighs, just you can feel, you'll probably feel a little bit of muscle tension right in that inner thigh group, and then keep it strong. So with the hands on the inner thighs, imagine you're using those inner thigh muscles to push your hands up towards the ceiling. So put a little bit of pressure on through the hands and then push your inner thighs into your hands and create a little bit of resistance, and see if you can hold that resistance for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that. And then hands are going to come to the outside of the thighs, and you might move your legs just a little bit closer if you're at your edge. So hands to the outsides of the thighs, and hands are going to resist. And you're going to imagine you're pushing the outsides of your thighs down towards the ground. So hold that tension, hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax all of that. Pull the knees into your chest. Take your time. Give yourself a light little squeeze, and then maybe a little rocking side to side. Take one more little rock side to side, and then start to find your way to your Savasana position. So whatever shape of the body you're going to go with for your relaxation, take a second to find your way there. No right or wrong, just pick the position you like the best. But then once you've found it, just do all those little wiggles and readjust. Make sure your clothes and your hair feel good. But then we're going to scrunch up the bottoms of the feet. So no matter where you are, find a position just so that you can get your feet scrunched up like you're trying to pick your yoga mat up with the bottoms of your feet. Hold that tension for a moment. And then when you're ready, soften and relax. And we're going to do that again. Scrunch up the bottoms of your feet. Hold that tension for a moment. And then when you're ready, soften and relax. Do that one more time. Scrunch up the bottoms of your feet like you're trying to pick something up with the soles of your feet. Hold that tension for just a little bit longer. And then when you're ready, soften your feet and then let everything soften as well. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel ready to do so, start to gently reawaken. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Move any other parts like that little gentle awakening. And then once you feel like you've kind of woken some things up, if it feels good to do so, take it into a big good morning stretch. Walk your legs long, stretch your arms up and overhead. Take a nice big giant breath back into your body. We're going to stay with that slightly longer position of the body, but release your hands down so your hands can find that front pocket area. And then just pushing into the front pockets, you're just going to kind of smush the front pockets around just a little bit, moving that skin, moving that connective tissue, just kind of noticing those bony prominences. Take a moment to just kind of smush everything around. And then once you feel like your front pocket area has been amply smushed, slowly and mindfully bring yourself up to a seated position. Come up in any way that works good for you. Great. And then once you found your way up, if you're wearing your glasses, take a second to put them somewhere safe. And we're going to take our little index finger hook fingers, and we're going to take our hooks right to the edges of our eyebrows where the third eye center meets. We're going to push in gently, and then imagine those two little 11s, those little creases that get formed right in between from thinking real hard. Take your little hook fingers and then press in gently and draw out along the length of your eyebrow all the way out to your temples. And then once you hit the temples, pick it up and bring it back in. Press in gently, pull away all the way out to the temples, and then release. And then one more time, bring it in, pulling out all the way out to the edge, and then release. And then we're going to take our light tapping piano fingers and just tap right underneath the soft curve of the eye. A couple more little light taps, and then we're going to take just index finger to the crease right where the nose and the mouth crease meet. So just right at that little tiny edge, push your index fingers in and slightly up, and then draw tiny little circles, trying to relax your mouth muscles, trying to relax your cheek muscles, which is harder when you're talking and doing this. All right, and then take those little tiny circles and draw them the other way. One more little tiny circle, and then when you're ready, release your hands right on top of your heart, bow your head to your heart. Take a moment just to notice your breath coming in and out of your nose. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and the time that you take to take care of yourself. And then breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And when you feel ready, gently lift up to the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you.